Well, it's kind of a rough day out. It's raining, it's cold, or at least cold for this time of year. So, we got some head gaskets ordered. I got some Cometic MLS gaskets that are a little bit thinner than these. These were Felpros. So we got those coming in. I wasn't able to get ARP head studs. I have ARP hardware, so we're just gonna have to end up reusing the ARP head bolts. So, I mean, it's better than the stock stuff, but I would have liked to get ARP head studs. Also, I ordered some comp cams lifters for the engine. Like I said, the previous lifters were just stock style OE lifters. These are OE stock style as well, but they're a little bit better quality. They'll enable us to turn a little bit higher RPM. But I mean, nothing wrong with the old ones. They're just, you know, they just kind of died off RPM wise. Everything else looks good under here. We're gonna go ahead and start scraping this off. Get it all ready to put back together. I should have the parts here in the next day or so. Alright, so I got the heads pretty well cleaned off. What I'm going to do is throw them in the truck, take them on down to the machine shop, because since we got some Cometic MLS gaskets, we need to make sure the mating surface is nice and flat, nice and clean. So I'm just going to have them shoot through that really quick. Man, it's pretty crazy how much people are waiting for gas down here. Luckily I got two diesel trucks, so me and the wife are a little less affected by it, but I mean, it's still pretty crazy. Well, we got the heads taken care of, resurfaced, so now we got a nice clean deck to put the heads back on. Obviously no need to do the block. It's a fairly newly machined block, and you know, the aluminum is more or less what's going to warp and not the steel on the deck of the block. So we get back to the house, got a surprise for when we get back to the house. Let's get back there and see what we got. Alright, well, it's only partially here. This is the beginning of what's going to be the roll cage for the Fox body. I've been talking about it for a while, how we really need one. The other box should be here tomorrow. Either way, I'm going to get someone to weld that in, to TIG weld it in properly. Since one, I mean, it's a pretty important piece of the structural part of the car. And, you know, I'd rather just have somebody do it with a TIG welder than me trying to do it with my cheap little MIG welder. Aside from that, we got all the parts we need to put the heads back on the car. Got some comp cams lifters, 851-16. This is a performance set of intake manifold gaskets. So these ports are a little bit bigger since we're not running stock heads. I just got some new ARP bolts for the intake manifold. And then the thing that was really needed, these are Cometic MLS head gaskets. These are a 40 thousandths crush thickness, so they're a little bit thinner than the head gaskets that were on the car or the stock head gaskets. Should bump us up in compression just a small amount. I mean, nothing crazy. I think I mic'd up the Felpros that were on here. They came in at like 52 thousandths, I think, maybe 53. So these will be 40 thousandths. It'll pick us up maybe like a half a point of compression or something. All right. Here's the heads. I'm gonna pull it out really quick. Nice and shiny. So I put in a good amount of work last night. I really wanted to get these exhaust manifolds on, let that RTV dry out pretty good. I got this side on, the other side kind of fought me, so I got that on this morning. We'll go ahead and wait till later to actually finish it up. But what I did was I filled it up with water. So far it's holding all the water. So no leaks right now, under no pressure. One thing I wanted to point out, people ask me about my coolant temperature sensor. I run the sensor in the spot where the gauge used to be because that's what size the pipe fitting or the pipe thread fits into. And the Holley coolant temperature sensor line, I mean, it fits perfectly right under the manifold there. So I run that to there. Over here I just run a plug in the other side of the intake manifold. But what I do is I take that plug out and then I fill the whole engine with water. And a lot of times people run into problems where they put antifreeze or water in the engine for the first time, and then it'll overheat, and they're messing with like taking the cap on and off and filling it up. I found that if you take the plug off, it lets all the air escape while you're shoving water down in there. So as you're filling the whole engine with water, the air will escape and come out of that plug hole. And then, you know, I just use a hose with a nozzle, and, you know, you could do it with antifreeze too. But then I'm pretty much just peeking into the intake manifold, and then once I see the water start to come up, you know, I just put the plug back in. This way, the amount of water or the air that's actually in the engine will be pretty minimal, and you shouldn't really have an issue. Once that thermostat pops open, you can go ahead and fill it the rest of the way, and then you'll be fine from there. You shouldn't have to touch it again. Alright, so we got the car pushed out. Let's go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and see if our see if what we did. Alright, so the battery died on the, well, so the card was full on the camera, then the battery died somehow, so looks like it's still holding water. So we'll go ahead and fire it up really quick and make sure we got no issues. It'll probably smoke a little bit because I have my hands all over it, but an hour, come back to it later. So I think we're good now. So now it should fire right up. We'll go ahead and check the timing, set it really quick, and then I'll let it warm up.
Gee, Dad, why are you seeing 40 degrees of timing? Because you're on the wrong wire. I eventually figured it out.
Took me a minute. What happened was I was a tooth off, and I kept going one tooth. I forget which way. I think I was going looking at the distributor. I kept going one tooth clockwise, and it wouldn't work. And then I go one tooth back, and then it'd work. And then I go back and forth, and then I realized, light bulb, go one tooth counterclockwise from where I was off. So once I did that, car fired right up. You know, minor things. Had the hose, one of the hose clamps was loose, so I was shooting water everywhere. Other than that, it seems pretty good. What I'll do, since it's higher compression, you know, it's probably maybe a half point higher. I'm gonna pull 2 degrees out, and then we'll slowly work that back in, and then see how the car goes. Car seems to idle a lot easier. I actually had to close the throttle body a pretty significant amount, and I still need to mess with that just to get the IAC to close. Anyway guys, the car ticked for a little bit. Once those lifters pumped up, I mean, it's fine. Sounds a little deeper too. That's really it from here. I got something coming Sunday, a much needed upgrade to the car, and then hopefully this next week we'll be able to get out there and go racing. So that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.